Day. I just wanted to let us come together and address some issues about enduring hardship. One of the most hardest things for a man to deal with is being able to conquer the emotional window when you're enduring hardship. And it's nothing that is unusual. It's been in scripture for a long time that when we are going through some of the hardest terrain, it is always in our emotional gate that we seem to be tossing to and from. And I don't think that it's always about somebody that don't have faith or belief, but it's just that when you are going through, it's said in scripture that when John the Baptist was in prison, he took some of his disciples and they said, well, go to Yahushua and ask him, was he the chosen one to come to change the very existence of how the Israelites was going? And I want you to understand, it's not that I believe that John the Baptist was so confused about who was in control, but it was more or less he was in such a disarrayment in his emotions. And when you are conquered by some parts of emotion, it doesn't matter how strong you are. Doesn't matter how much might you have in your mentality. It doesn't change that emotionally you can be dealing with stuff and it's hard to endure. So just to kind of get into the riff of that endurance, we're going to go to the book called James. The book called James. This is coming out of the Bible. It's right after Hebrew. And we're just going to look at some of the things that James illustrated about being in a place of enduring hardship at the time, in this particular instance, when they were scattered about because of Yahushua, who was now, I believe, dead, I'm sure, and he had rose according to the scriptures, and now they have to make decisions on how their life going to be after that. So I want you to understand that they relied on Yahushua, who you call Jesus. I don't know anybody are familiar with the Hebrew words, and I don't want to confuse anyone. And at times, sometime when you are not in a position, and this is to anybody who may be going through some things. Sometime when you're not in a position to understand what is taking place, the one that who was there for a season with you was always the one taking care of everything, so to speak. And then you had this situation where that he was taken up, and you have to, at this point, activate the faith, because that person that was always going boom, boom, boom is not standing right there before you. And that's an interesting thing when it comes to hardship. And this is what I've learned. I have learned to rely on particular things in my life, in my past, that had got me by. But when I made a decision to walk with the Most High, I had to let go of my familiarity, what I thought was the best plan of action for Edward. And I had to rely that his way was the right way. And I don't know about anybody else. Emotionally, that took me to another level, because now I had to let go of the things I'm familiar with, going out and doing things in my way of necessity, going out and doing things the way I feel would be beneficial for me. And I had to rely fully on how he sees the way things supposed to be, that will put me in a position with him that I will no longer rely on Edward's way of life. That, I'm telling you, was hard for Edward, not for you or anybody. It was hard for me. I am always been a bread type winning person. I love to make my action clear. It's not like I'm always the best at what I do, but I always been in a position within my internal to see how I can benefit my own way. But for many years at this point, now I had to learn to rely only on the Most High for my substance, for my needs, for my everyday affairs. If I make a decision to do something, I have to always connect with him. I wasn't that kind of person. I would just impulsively, if I had to, do what I wanted to do no matter what. If I felt that there was a problem, I would try to resolve it myself. This is where the endurance part came in. That trying to figure out things in my mind was not working because the Most High was changing me. And when somebody is being changed, I'm trying to help somebody to understand something. When somebody is being changed, that means things that you are familiar with is getting tore down in your life. Because he don't want you to live how you used to live, because the purpose is to bring you to a better you. In him only, not in yourself. And sometimes that requires you to let go of what's familiar to you.